Who is the real gatekeeper of UFO disclosure? Is it the government or the visitors themselves? How long have they been here? How many times do they even consider disclosing themselves? Now, regardless of the answers, the US government is now addressing this issue in their own way, opening people's minds to this topic, and they have been for quite a few years now. We have a lot to cover, so let me bring in my co host and mentor, Jimmy Church of Faded Black Radio.
Wow, that
Jimmy,
was fast. Jumping
happy
straight into it.
Thursday. Oh,
Happy
yes. You know what?
Thursday.
Because we've missed you. It's been several weeks since we've done a live stream of
Not my
Mysteries of
fault,
History.
your fault. Not my fault,
Our
everybody.
fault. Don't put the blame on me, Jimmy.
So good to be back. Happy holidays. You ready? Is your tree up? I got my tree. Look.
I love it. It's very cute. There it is. Full screen.
It's this tall, but it's some trickery. But it looks big, doesn't it?
It does look really big. It looks lovely.
Yeah, it comes up to my knee. But anyway, you need some holiday festive stuff.
I'll probably wear a Santa hat on Christmas, and that's as far as it's gonna go.
We've done that before. I think
we have.
We both wore Santa hats.
Yeah, we've done what, 2 Christmases, maybe 3.
You know what?
Quite a few.
Know what? Okay, I'm going to say real quick before we move on. Happy holidays, everybody, and I hope everybody's just enjoying themselves. But I'm going to make this really quick. I got a holiday Harley T-shirt. Okay,
as you should.
And I bought a few that, and I bought right, and it's got. And I was just buying, is it my size? Yes. And I just buy whatever's available new at Harley. And so I got this, and I got it home, and I took a second look at it. It's got a woman scantily clad with a Santa hat sitting on this Harley Davidson. Okay. You can't wear that in public.
That's not to.
You know what I mean? I took a look at it. I was going to a party over the weekend, which I did do, and I looked at this. I can't wear it. I can't wear it. I can wear it around the house. It's really, really funny. That's the world that we live in today, and it's about respect, right, to everybody. But
it's officially pajama wear now.
It's exactly that. You wear it outside when you wash your car or whatever. But anyway, this is an interesting subject that we're doing today with the broad scope of a term, right? Imminent disclosure. Are we here? So normally I ask you, Christina, what brought this up this week? Do you feel, I don't have to ask that, but I will ask this. Do you feel, Christina Gomez, do you feel disclosure is imminent?
I did put a poll up on YouTube, and over 80% people said, no, we're not going to be getting it, at least from the government, anytime soon. The thing is that while they have been discussing this more publicly since about 2017, disclosure is not going to come from the government. It's going to come from the people or the visitors themselves, and they have any opportunity to do so. It's just kind of up to them on if they feel that we're ready or not. How long have they been here? We have heard stories over the centuries about UFO visitation, alien visitation, and yet here we are still having the conversation of UFO disclosure. We're at 11:59 right now, and especially with the environment that we're in, both politically and on a social level, it really seems that the UFO phenomenon is on a lot of people's minds. And hearing people mention that President Trump has been briefed on UFOs, is he going to be the disclosure president? Well, knowing his temperament, knowing how much he likes to shock people, out of all the presidents that the US has had so far, Trump seems to be the most likely to drop that information out to the public. Do you think that's a possibility? Or do you think maybe the next president or the one after that might be talking about UFOs and coming on our TV and say, American people, aliens?
Did I miss your answer?
No, I answered it.
Are you of the 80? Well, I was listening. Are you of the 80 percentile?
Yes. Are you?
Okay. All right. I didn't vote, but I'm certainly in the 80 percentile. The now back to your question about the Oval Office, and I'm not going to take the orange bait on that, but I will say this. I will say this. Um, I'm not sure if he is the guy. I've every president that has come in, it seemed like it was a possibility, and there was a lot of researchers that said this is the year, and this, and we missed that, right? And each opportunity that has been there, it seemed really, really close. This time around, and I'm going to say this with complete respect, not only to your audience but this beautiful country of ours. We've got a lot of messes, and those messes that and those fires that are burning everywhere have to be dealt with. And I'm not sure if the UFO agenda and the UAP agenda and the disclosure agenda can take over that for those that are in Washington. There's a lot of crazy stuff and basic stuff too. The economy is a really big deal, and we're coming up on a midterm right now, and with everything else that is happening, there is a focus on that stuff because of the midterm. Would I like disclosure and UFOs and UAPs and ET and contact to be a part of those midterm elections? That would be great. I'm not so sure that the rest of the country right now is thinking about this too as well. Our community is different, but the temperature of the country and the temperature of the world is dictating to some other things and very broad, important issues that need to be taken care of. And that's my take. So when you're looking at the Oval Office and the daily briefings and concerns and elections and everything else that is going on, is the UFO subject right there and in front? There's the American public has other things that they need to have dealt with. As big as of an issue as it is, I just don't see that happening, especially with midterms. That's my take. I don't think I'm wrong. I may not even be right, Christina, but the world is in flux, and the UFO issue and the UAP issue is right there in the middle of it, right? But we've got a lot of stuff that is pretty smoky and covering it up, if you know what I mean.
There seems to be, but even if we look at all the previous presidential candidates that have run for election, from 2016 onward, they kept mentioning, once I become president, I will release UFO
Mhm.
information. Bernie
For sure.
Sanders said this, Hillary Clinton said this, Trump said this up until the more recent election. So maybe these midterms, it might be a different dynamic compared to previous years, especially with the latest NDAA that was made public for 2026. While it is still running through the House, seeing if everything was going to pass through, UFOs were mentioned a few times. And in this case, for the NDAA, it was stated that Congress, and I'm assuming here it's Schumer and Rounds, these two congressmen, they want NORAD and Northcom to release their UFO intercepts since January of 2004. Now, usually with the UAPDA, most of it is gutted. All we've gotten from it so far is the creation of Arrow and them just releasing a few reports, like the ones that were talking about the annual reports and then the previous UFO offices all the way from 1945. But it would be very interesting to see if we're going to see if NORAD and Northcom are going to follow suit on that, if it will get passed. But even the mystery drone situation really hasn't gone away, and flying over all these very highly sensitive and restricted locations across the US and now even Europe. It's following the same framework as the New Jersey drone flap incident. So I wonder that, if behind the scenes the disclosure question is still a kind of hot potato, or more officials might be saying that keeping the lid on this is getting more and more impossible with all the things that are taking place, like the New Jersey incident and the one taking place in Europe. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're right on all of those points, and it's a really good argument. But if we look now at this historically, and I'm not in any way throwing water on this, I'm not doing that. But if we go back to December 2017 and the New York Times and the release of those three videos that happened back in 2017, I, you, all of us, this community, extremely excited. And it seemed like at that point where we had press conferences and the Pentagon and the White House and the press briefings and everything that was, whoa, right? It was just so fast. And it caught the attention of a lot of people and the public who were now being brought into the UFO question in the UFO community and thinking about what is really going on with this secret Pentagon UFO program and the years of denial, decades of denial. It's now 2025. 8 years have gone by. 8 years.
That went by
And
really fast too,
yeah, it
honestly.
went by really, really fast. And now the veterans of the UFO community, Christina, every single year we sit back and go, okay, is this the year? Is this the year? Is this the We're quite used to this. Those that came into the UFO community that were new in 2017, and we welcome them all, thought that this is how it plays out. You just go in, you bring it up, the government's going to disclose, and it didn't take long. We've got the New York Times, we've got these videos, we've got TTSA, we've got this madness that is happening, and now we're going to have disclosure right now, this month, today, next week. Well, 2018 came and went, didn't it? And so did 19, so did 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and now we are moving into 26. We are used to this. We have kept the fight up and have never stopped the UFO community and researchers. And this is just another year. We keep the pressure on and we keep this thing moving forward. I think that some people were a little bit surprised that probably came into the UFO community, Christina, and then moved on after 6 months or a year and maybe even got bored with it. But the UFO community itself is very solid. And we know that because of the congressional hearings and what the media is doing, what is not only happening inside of the Pentagon and Washington, D.C., but the world itself is now recognizing this, and science is supporting the size of the universe, and we understand the basics here. So we're getting closer and closer. I want to address your point. You said not from the government, but from ET themselves. I think that's exactly what's going on. I think that is happening more and more with 3-Eye Atlas and everything. This kicks up the awareness, and people follow up and do their research and question what is the information that has been fed back to us from an official point of view. And that is great. We have to question everything and put the trust in ourselves and keep this thing moving forward. So ET showing up, the government would have to respond. And I've always maintained that position.
Well, simultaneously, it seems that all the years that we have been talking about this, Jimmy, I think that we are consistently highlighting. So at the end of the year, we talk about, okay, what was covered this year when it comes to UFO news, updates, and sightings. And from my own research, it seems that every single year from about 2020 to present day, UFOs are infiltrating the news even more. We're getting more information. We're getting more sightings. The media is covering it more. Congress and the government is covering it more in the United States and in other countries. Okay, this is not just a US phenomenon. It's taking place all over the world. And looking at all the previous years, 2025 seems to be the most rich, the most condensed when it comes to all the UFO information, particularly coming from within the government. We have seen so many congressmen like Luna, Burchett, Burleson, Gillibrand, Rubio has been really big on the news lately, all addressing this. Now, they have been for quite a few years, but it seems like this year in particular, 2025, they have been so gun ho about it. They've been so vocal about it, especially with the creation of the task force run by Luna. All of these congressmen being on a bunch of shows, podcasts on like these media platforms as well, all addressing this. And now with Trump also talking about his him speaking to pilots during his first term about UFOs and things like this. I think it's really interesting how far we've come over these last few years.
I'll go even bigger than that. I'll go even bigger. Dave Chappelle. Yeah,
Oh,
Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle 2 years ago, he's got a new comedy special out, right? He's so huge and has so much influence. His audience is not our UFO community, but he went out on stage and said very loudly, "So, man, I'm locked in this hotel room. The weather was bad and COVID, and I found out UFOs are real, right? Aliens are real. I've been watching these videos," and he went off on this. It's Dave Chappelle. He's going to make a joke or two about it, but saying that to that broad audience is exactly what you're talking about. It's the influence of everything else coming in and then cycling back out into the mainstream through a venue like the voice of Dave Chappelle. And it addresses your point exactly. This is a really, really big deal. I think that the world has taken notice. Now let's back up. You mentioned Marco Rubio. I do want to get into Grush and some other things too as well. But Marco Rubio, for a long time, when things were kicking up, and I'm talking about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, TMZ following him around. He was on the Senate Intelligence Committee at that time, senator from Florida, and he's getting the questions. He's getting the real questions, and the hard questions, and he was answering them directly. Right? Okay. All right. ET here, contact. What is the Senate Intelligence Committee doing about this? Are there going to be hearings? What do you think? And now he's Secretary of State. So, what is that conversation when it comes to ET that he is having internally, not only with the president, but he's Secretary of State, other countries, right? Is this a subject that he is still being asked about internally? And is he continuing the push internally? That's a key question when it comes from Marco Rubio. His body language now, I think, has shifted a little bit. When he was a senator from Florida, he was very serious and very stern about it. It seems softer to him, the subject right now. So as we move forward, how is Marco Rubio dealing with this? Anna Paulina, Luna, direct. She's direct. She's very direct. Burleson, Burchett, very direct. Gillibrand, always been very, very, very direct. Let's see if they continue this push through the midterms and see how we move forward. But the key here, I agree, is Marco Rubio and his influence in the Oval Office.
your observation is very interesting, and actually one I didn't even notice, that you think that he has become more soft on this topic now with his new position compared to when he was senator of Florida. As we can remember, it was like what, 2021, 2022. He did give an interview with News Nation mentioning that he has had people confide in him with their UFO sightings and encounters. He is hoping for more whistleblower protection and things like this. But if we look at these more recent interviews that he has given about his viewpoint on UFOs, it does, in my opinion, still seem pretty stern. It still seems like he is still pushing the needle on this. But now with his new position, hopefully he is getting briefed on this much more than previously. We have also seen Vice President J.D. Vance address this, mentioning that he's always had an interest in this topic, but it's not an easy nut to crack. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has also addressed this and stating that she still has a lot of questions, particularly pertaining to the New Jersey drone incident. She knows the official answer to this created by the government, but she still has a lot of questions. So I feel like seeing these people show a level of skepticism, knowing that they do not feel like they are getting all of the legitimate answers, that should catch a lot of people's interest and attention. I mean, even Tim Burchett has mentioned so many times that he does not trust the government, and he is in it. He knows that we are being lied to when it comes to the UFO phenomenon, the UFO legacy programs. Matthew Brown did an interview not too long ago addressing that when he read about the legacy program, the transcript that was run by Arrow. Rubio asked about it, and Arrow brushed it off incredibly quickly, which is disappointing. And even Arrow in itself has just been not the best office for public interest. But I think that hearing these congressmen address this topic, showing a level of skepticism, might be in the right direction.
It anything in, even if it's baby steps, is awesome for sure. And when you look at the efforts of Luna, Burchett, and Burleson, and certainly Gillibrand and Marco Rubio, Marco Rubio is now Secretary of State. But if we look at the big picture here, right, how everybody is dealing with, we have wars that are continuing on this planet. We have the economy. We have the healthcare issue that is absolutely ginormous. We've got a situation brewing right now in Venezuela. And all of these officials have to deal with these other issues too as well. So this is what we need to concern ourselves with. How do we, as a community, keep this up, keep this visible, and keep this moving forward? With the efforts of, Danny Sheehan and others to keep this alive in Washington is very, very important. Just because we've made these great strides, Christina, it's not a time to relax and let them play it out and we've given them the tools. No, that's not the case. No, we have to keep the pressure on. So as a community, how do we do that? Social media is such a powerful tool, and it shows like yours and other efforts from podcasters out there and TV networks and the news and the media to keep this alive, right? We have to keep that up and keep that visible. It is absolutely crucial. This isn't the time to relax. Here's my other concern, and I'm going to voice this very, very, very loudly. I don't want to see the fear card played when it comes to ET. I don't want to see that approach.
Do you think it will happen?
It's always been a method of control for every nation state, every leader going back for thousands of years, how to keep people in control. You use fear to do that. You can't throw flowers and flower petals and confetti in the air and keep people's interest. It doesn't work that way. Fear is a control thing. And when you turn around and you lie about ET and you lie about alien and contact and what's going on and flip that over into a national security fear issue to catch the attention of the United States, other politicians, the Pentagon, everything else, to play the fear card, when I have done thousands of shows, thousands of interviews. I've been researching this for 50 years. As far as I know, there hasn't been any fear presented from ET. I'm not talking about abductions and craziness and that's a scary thing to go through. But I'm talking about a national security issue? Has anything like that ever been reported on by the media? Have we been attacked? And that's what I don't want to see play out, is a misrepresentation of what life in the universe possibly can be, what our experience with contact has been, and how it may be in the future. I don't want to see the fear card used. I'm not scared of ET. Our community isn't scared of ET. We want this. We want this to be pushed forward. I don't want to see the fear card played. It misrepresents the real efforts of what is going on. If ET wanted this planet, they'd take it.
So do you feel that,
they take it.
well, Jimmy, do you feel that the national security threat narrative falls in line with the fear narrative, in your opinion?
There's two ways to look at it. So I will say yes and yes to both of these. The question of, are we alone in the universe? That is our right as humans, as earthlings, to know that information. Okay? That there is no question about that. We should be told the truth. If there is a technology that we have and we don't want exposed to our adversaries, and let's be honest here, there are bad people on this planet. There's bad people that would take advantage of something like that. Am I okay with keeping some things secret like that? Yeah, I am. I want to feel safe. I don't want some secret alien tech to fall into the hands of bad players. So I agree with that. But that's not a national security issue that they are referring to. They put a blanket over all of it, that it's all a national security issue. And that's not true. That is simply not true. If there is life out there in the universe and we know about it and we've made contact, tell us. That is our right. That isn't some secret that is only for the privileged few to have. No, we have that right as earthlings. So if there's some secret tech and that's crazy town and you need to keep that on the down low, okay. All right. Keep me and my children safe. Keep this country safe. Keep the world safe. All right. I'm okay with that. So it's like a yes on both sides.
Well, something that has been mentioned a lot, especially for those that really aren't in this community, in this field of, okay, so aliens come forward, we get disclosure, but I still need to pay my bills, still go to my 9 to 5. Do you think, and I'm asking you this and everyone listening as well, do you think UFO disclosure would genuinely change society? Or do you think we're going to still live the same life that we always have?
It would change radically for the better. What it would do is announce and show us that we are earthlings, that we represent planet Earth, and we are going to represent planet Earth to our ET brothers and sisters out there. And we're going to represent as earthlings, not as Canadians and Americans and Chinese and Japanese and Russian and factions and borders and religions and divisiveness. No, it will unite us as a planet and start to recognize that we are all the same. We're just earthlings. We all share DNA. That's what would radically change. And I'll be honest with you, I can understand why the power brokers on this planet don't want that. They don't want us to all get along. They don't. That's that fear factor. That's that control factor. If all of those veils were removed that are put up between us, and we just step back and go, well, okay, we represent Earth. There's other stuff out there. We need to come together. We need to have a reason to move forward as a planet, to keep this place great, to keep us alive, to keep us healthy, learn, get knowledge together, and move forward and evolve as a species of earthlings. That's what would it change? It would change radically. And what's the difference, Christina? There's two things here. There's two. There's no gray area in the middle. We are alone. We are not. That's it. If we are told that we are alone, that we are all there is in the universe, that what's the reason for being? What's the reason for loving? What's the reason for moving forward? Now, if we're alone, let's just party. It's just there's nothing to live for. But if we are not alone, now we have a goal. We have something to move forward to as a planet. So yeah, it is a radical situation.
It definitely resonates with the Ronald Reagan speech that he gave to the UN of,
For sure.
if we have this access, if we have this outside threat, would it bring humanity together? And it seems that a lot of people agree. And then there are those that say, no, I don't think it'll make a difference. But I'm on the same boat as you. I think it will really change how we think of everything, how it'll affect our society, our religion, philosophy. All of these different things will be shifted when there is this global awareness. Because individuals that have had their own UFO sightings or encounters, that's disclosure for them. That's all they need. That's really it. Hearing government disclosure, well, they have the biggest audience, right? Everyone's listening to them, even if they agree with them or disagree. People are always listening to the government and how they handle this situation. But I think it would, just like yourself, I think it would really change how we overall look at this for the better. Now, would it erase all the barriers of how we try to be different from others, like with racism and religion and all these different things? It's like it's always us against them. Someone that doesn't resonate with you or isn't like you, they're the enemy. Well, if we get that form of disclosure, UFO disclosure, would we see them as like, hey, space brothers, or would we all collectively see them as the enemy? And would it take that level of fear and hatred to bring humanity together?
Yeah. What choice
when
do
we're
we
fighting against
yeah,
something else?
what choice do we have? We don't have a choice in this. We simply don't have a choice. And then we have, and what I mean by that is, if that moment comes, and it will, and for many of us, it's already happened. If you've had an experience or have seen something in the sky, and you are convinced that we are not alone, that's a different situation, and disclosure means something different to them. But in moving forward, what choice would we have in that? We really wouldn't have a choice. We would be forced into just accepting the situation. And if we back up and look at the developments over the last 6 months with 3I Atlas and what it is doing, not only to the world, but to our understanding of science and the size of the universe, the attention and the interest into 3I Atlas from, billions of people on this planet that are not part of our UFO community, that is extraordinary. And coming on the heels of that, because people want to know, is that ET? Is it not? Is it a comet? Is it not? What is it? Its closest approach is coming in just 8 days. 8 days, December 19th, right? We're going to start to really get some good looks at 3I Atlas. What 3I Atlas is doesn't matter. The conversation is happening and the interest is happening. And that's what matters. The oldest question that we have, well, we have 3. Where do we come from? What happens to us after we die? And are we alone in the universe? We need that question answered. This is a question that everybody has. It's a very, very important thing to look at. And 3I Atlas is presenting that. And I'm very excited for not only what 3I Atlas has done, but the conversation starter that it gives. It's such an interesting situation that we find ourselves in with that, and how will the public react? By the way, I quickly want to say there have been different committees, different groups put together over the years, universities, government, corporations, think tanks, have all looked at this issue and have presented what the world would look like if ET was here. And they've always presented we would lose our minds, the stock markets would crash, religion would fall apart, people would jump off buildings, and it would just, Three Eye Atlas, the New York Times article in December of 2017, all of these things are, nothing happened. Did anybody freak out? Did anybody lose their minds? Did any markets crash? Did the Vatican go poof? Did Islam fall apart? Nothing happened. That's because we want these answers and we are interested in this subject. So yes, very interesting times. Is 2026 the year? It could be. Anything is possible. We have a lot of fires to put out right now, and if we continue to take care of not only our situations here at home in America, but in the United States, but around the world, we need to take care of some stuff. We have some house cleaning we have to do, and while all of that is happening, we just have to keep this subject visible and keep the awareness up. One last comment, and then I'll flip it over to you. By the way, happy holidays, everybody. David Grush. I appreciate him so much. And the reason for that is the way that Congress dealt with it, the way the committee dealt with it. He said some things that were never said in the Capitol building. Ever. It was unreal. You and I did many shows about that. We did that live. Didn't we do a live thing when Crush?
We've done quite a few on it.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Wow. Right. But for elected representatives to hear the statements come from Grush, like it was very brave. It was unbelievable. And it was a huge moment in human history. But it was the way that the committee members dealt with it. I think they were a little surprised. They were a little shocked. They didn't realize that a large majority of things that they were dealing with on a daily basis or trying to deal with was being kept from them. And I'm talking about secret access programs. I'm talking about budgets. I'm talking about checks that they cut, laws that are passed, and they are in control. They would like to think that they are in control of things that go on in one of our three branches of government. And they found out that, no, that's not the case. They can't go and investigate this issue. They were shut down. And that's what David Grush did for us. A lot of other things, too, as well. But he really opened the eyes of a lot of elected officials there in Washington, D.C. And I'm very appreciative for that. And hopefully we will continue to hear more. I know that he said that the president has been briefed. Well, okay. Briefed on what? Briefed on what he wants to hear? Briefed on what they felt he should hear? Has he heard everything? What was presented? Or was it just a national security issue situation that will be, like has been done with many administrations before, used as a tool to move their agenda forward? And that's a big concern. We shall see. Do you remember, Christina? I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry, and I know I've got so much to say on the subject. I remember Storm Area 51. Remember that? Remember Storm Area 50? Remember that? You remember that?
I do.
You remember that? Okay, I saw you running. I saw you doing.
That wasn't me. I was not doing the Naruto,
I saw you doing
Naruto run.
No. When the president was asked about that, he misspoke. And this was my concern. when he said, well, I know a lot of people want to go. I know he was talking about Roswell. He wasn't talking about Area 51. He was talking about something else. And so where is his situational awareness with this? Is it laser focus? Is it whistleblower testimony? Is it, pilots going on the record? Is it Arrow? Has he seen unreleased top secret videos? Does he know that we have the possibility of bodies, in Area 50? I don't know. What was he exposed to? Is he told about Lockheed and Skunk Works? Does he know about the Wilson Davis document? What level of it? I don't know. What was he briefed on? We may never know. But Grush said it. Let's see.
And also you have to consider, does he have the need to know? But there's so much more we have to cover, but we have hit the end of the show. I want to say a big thank you to all of the super chats, Moon, Michael, Mark, and still Water Scott. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the show and subscribe if you haven't already. Jimmy, thank you so much for doing this episode with me. Please stick to the end because this outro, this music has you in mind. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you everyone for catching this live. Be safe and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.